Did SIU just drop one of the biggest lore dumps in Tower of God's history? The short answer? Yes. Yes, he did. And the long answer is, just like everything else in this series, much more complicated. Hello, I'm Dennis and I'm here to go over the events that have transpired over Tower of God chapter 640, which is probably best described as a historical bombshell. We get a deep dive into the secret history of the 10 great families, a look into the origins of what might be the mysterious Red Light District, and even a clue as to why Eurasia Enne Zahard ended up locked away. So let's break down the key moments of this incredible chapter. We kick things off with Trumai and Gustang, as Trumai unleashes his power and draws in the souls of the fallen warriors in this war. The sight is so grotesque that Gustang is reminded of a horrible day from long ago. But first we're switching perspectives for a bit to a tense confrontation between Hugo and the head librarian Michael. Hugo, who's clearly out for answers, steps up to the Popidao family head librarian. The encounter is heated. Michael, whom we have last seen attack Yama with his battleship and sacrifice his own fleet in the process, is confused as to why Hugo is here. Hugo confronted him, saying that she would clear the family from people like him and start to attack the head librarian. But as he holds the same position as the likes of Dumas and Proust, he easily dodged all of her attacks and tells her how naive and ignorant she is, because he acts according to the family head's wishes. He then proceeds to ask Hugo if she knows where those people meddling in the war came from, referring to the revolutionaries. This sets the tone for the chapter, as we are about to uncover the truth about the dark and shameful secret of the family heads and Jahad. The chapter then takes us on a journey through time, with a flashback revealing an event that changed everything. The destruction of the most advanced civilization in the tower by the hands of none other than Eurasia Blossom. And it wasn't just any destruction. Unable to control her immense power, she burned it all to ashes. And when I say all, I mean every living soul was incinerated. The aftermath is pure chaos. People are outraged, demanding that Gustang punish Blossom for her actions. This is where we see Gustang at a crossroads. Does he punish his wife or protect her? The public is calling him out, accusing him of favoritism because of his marriage to Blossom. It's a rare moment where we see Gustang's usually cool and collected demeanor crack under the pressure of the people's demands. Trumai pays a visit to Gustang, as the events that unfolded were severe enough that they even reached him. The conversation between the two is chilling. Trumai admits that he distanced himself from the complaints of the lower ranks to avoid such burdensome situations, suggesting that Gustang should do the same. However, Gustang has a different perspective. He wants the history of the family heads and Jahad to be glorified, even in the eyes of those he deems lesser beings, cementing their legacy for future generations. This interaction perfectly illustrates the contrasting ideologies of the two family heads. Trumai's cold, cynical side clashes with Gustang's obsessive desire to record the flawless narrative of their history. The question of whether to punish Blossom comes up, and it's clear that Gustang is caught in a moral dilemma. He is bound by his role and duty as the judge of the family heads, and the very rules he created, unable to break them even if he wishes to help his wife. In an attempt to resolve the issue without outright punishing Blossom, Trumai proposes a solution, using his Shinsu black hole sphere to summon the spirits of those who perished in Blossom's disaster and revive them as immortal beings. The logic behind this is twisted, yet clever. If the victims are resurrected, even the most vocal critics would have no grounds for complaint. And Gustang, in his desperation to clear Blossom's guilt, actually agrees to the plan. But what follows is nothing short of horrific. As they begin the experiment, the spirits they summon are twisted beyond recognition. Instead of peaceful souls, they are met with enraged and agonized souls, their forms grotesquely distorted, barely resembling humans. It's a chilling scene, one that visually captures the irreversible sin they have committed. Trumai's cold response, simply uttering "it's a pity," before leaving shows his detached nature, while Gustang is left to grapple with the consequences of their actions. Hunted by the catastrophe, Gustang, who is in charge of writing the records of the family heads, faces an impossible task: how to record this disaster in a way that aligns with his vision of a glorious history. The mental anguish he experiences is palpable. He rewrites the accounts over and over, unable to accept the grim reality. It's a powerful moment that humanizes Gustang, showing that despite his arrogance and cold demeanor, he is tormented by his own ideals. Desperate for a solution, Gustang visits Jahad, who once proposed the creation of a massive incinerator in between the cracks of the floor of the tower, a place to dispose of everything they deemed unnecessary or unwanted. This idea, initially dismissed by Gustang, now becomes his lifeline. He proposes to use this incinerator not only to discard material things, but to erase history itself. Thus, they birthed the plan known as the Red Trash Can or Red Garbage Bin, depending on the translation. This plan is a massive cover-up operation, an attempt to rewrite history by disposing of ancient creatures, machines, people and any evidence of the sins committed by the 10 great families. Gustang hoped that this way he could escape his suffering. To seal this dark secret, the family heads and Jahad created a key to open this space and hide it where no one could ever find it or even think to look for it. That place, as you all know, was in the hands of the data version of Jahad's younger self on the hidden floor, which is an ingenious idea. No ranker can enter the hidden floor, people can talk about it as they would lose their memories if they did, and it's protected by one of the strongest regulars ever, the data version of Jahad. Thanks to that, there were no longer any clues about the memories that were erased or the sins the family heads and Jahad committed in their past. Well, almost. Despite their efforts to erase this chapter of history, one piece remains. A book written by Gustang himself, describing the true events. It's a silent testament to the guilt he carries, and his need to leave a trace of the truth behind, even if no one is aware of it. But in a shocking twist, we learn that much later, Eurasia Enne Zahard uncovers part of the truth. She discovered what had been hidden by King Jahad in the Red Trash Can, and is a revelation that shakes the foundation of everything we thought we knew. What Jahad threw away wasn't just remains of the past, the king confined himself in it. Or perhaps it would be more accurate to say that he most likely put parts of himself there. In my theory, he most likely did something similar to Gustang, who put his characteristics into the head librarians. Jahad probably did the same thing or something very similar, and those the Jahad clones, like the boss, were created, which could also explain how they can move between the floors and use Shinsu, despite them allegedly never leaving the Red Trash Can. But with the reveal of the Red Trash Can, I have even more questions. Like, are Karaka and Wangnan also from there? And if yes, how did they escape? And how is the Red Trash Can related to the Red Light District? Chapter 640 dives deep into the hidden sins of the tower's most powerful figures, revealing their darkest moments and the lengths they went to. Gustang's moral struggle, traumatized cold detachment, and Jahad's hidden shame all paint a complex picture of the great warriors, showing that their climb to power wasn't just marked by triumphs, but by deeply buried tragedies. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about this dark chapter in the history of the tower? And what secrets could still be lurking in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered?